but I had to be reduced to a wedding singer and a casual laborer. And the situation is the same for so many young people. My generation, the generation after, and your generation, and the same thing is going to continue until something is done. I'm just glad that this, our generation, is picking up books, picking up microphones, you know, picking up phones to fight back. I'm even prouder to see that we're not fighting using violence and destruction, but we are fighting using non-violence and reconstruction. Today I can only play a little role, which many of you are playing. And coming to your question about the diaspora, I want to remind you that throughout all the struggles in human history, the diaspora has played a huge, huge role. Most recent history was the struggles in Rwanda, the struggles in South Africa. Mandela was in prison, but so many of his friends had to go to Zambia, to Zimbabwe, to Nigeria, and to Uganda to reorganize from there because their home had become so hot for them to stay there. That brings the importance of the diaspora and its effectiveness. You guys in the diaspora cannot be abducted. You guys in the diaspora are way beyond the regime's brutal hand. Sure. So you are the engine of this, our struggle. You push this information far and wide. And those that are in even more effective countries, in Europe and in the Americas, particularly in the United States, they do more than just agitating and sensitizing, yes, and verbally fighting back. They knock doors, they lobby, they make sure those countries that facilitate the dictatorship back home stop facilitating the dictatorship. And it is working. Right. So I cannot overemphasize the importance and effectiveness of the diaspora.
All right, Mr. President, thank you for throwing light on that. We're headed for 2026.
Yeah.
We believe we went into the polls in 2021, yes, and you won. It is a public secret, yeah, if it is a secret. Yeah. Mr. President, why should we go back into the polls in 2026?
Very good question. Why should we go back to the polls in 2026? It brings me to some statement I saw on social media, and I wouldn't blame those young people who are so angry with the result of 2021, who don't want to go back to what they call drama. Actually, some printed t-shirts saying, if you're 2026, Vigambe Nyoko.
Because they
yeah, I mean, you wouldn't blame them. But I'll tell you, my brother, that this has been deliberate. The regime wants us to give up on elections, to give up on all possible shake methods. No wonder you go to the polls like it happened in Kayunga. You have all the declaration forms, but they declare number 4 as the winner. They want people to give up on elections because they know that that is where our strength is. They want us to go violent so they can find justification for them to make violence on us. But when you beat them in the polls, it becomes very hard for them to use the violence.
Mr. President,
maybe if I could just finish this.
Yes, sir.
I mean, we are not where we wanted to be. So why do I think it's important to go to the polls? Because we get the legitimacy. Yes, our victory was robbed. Yes, our people are in jail. But we were successful in taking away legitimacy from Museveni, and he's grappling with that. Today, I am able to be alive and speak with authority because I have that legitimacy as the duly and legally elected president of Uganda. We are in Dubai today, and coming into the airport, I found security waiting for me to question me. But they know that there's that power of legitimacy. That's why I'm here. The regime fails to fix me. I'll give you an analogy. I'm a boxer.
Sure.
Imagine you're a boxer. You go to the boxing ring you are contesting with some guy who is favored by the referee, maybe he's a son of the referee. You beat him and knock him out, but the referee picks him up and declares him winner. Yeah, he will be the champion of that year. But the people know who won.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, when it comes to the next year, and they say, okay, there's going to be a fight, and this guy who lost but took the belt comes back again, would you fight him again, or would you say, oh, you take a walkover and beat the champion?
No. You would go and beat him.
You would go and beat him again.
Yes.
This time you would want to beat him and make sure he doesn't get off the floor.
That leads me to another question. What different thing is NUP going to do this time round? Pre-election, during election, and post-elections.
This is not just about NUP. Yes, NUP is leading, and indeed NUP is responsible. Has the undesirable responsibility of taking charge and showing the way. But I don't want us to reduce this to only NUP. I want all Ugandans to take it upon themselves to fight back. Because if you leave it to NUP, then it is a futile effort. NUP, and I must say, is a very, very small faction of this general struggle of the people of Uganda. We are not NUP. We are people power. We are not a political party. We just have a political party. A political party is only the electoral wing of us. But people power is the power of the people. This is the mass movement that should include everyone, even those that are apolitical. Yes, NUP goes and represents the people of Uganda in the elections. But what happens when NUP is cheated out? The people of Uganda should rise. Dictators fall before, during, and after elections. So I want to tell the people of Uganda, especially the young people, that we are not only banking
on elections,
on the 2026 election. Museveni could rig it. But again, we could make sure Museveni falls before 2026. If he doesn't, he can fall in 2027 or 2028. So we use every available tool, and this time the tool at our disposal is the election. Let us use it to weaken him further. Who knows, we might even beat him and cause his fall in the election. But let's not just wait for the election. Let us do that now, so that by the election he's much weakened and we get our freedom in that election. But again, we must prepare our minds not to give up, so that even when he rigs 2026, the election is in January. He could fall in February, he could fall in March, he could fall in April. Let us just keep putting one foot in front of the other.
All right, we with the president, the legitimate president of Uganda. Mr. President, let's talk about the internet. It has been a great move or a great push as far as the struggle is concerned. And we saw in the last election, the 2021 election, Dictator Museveni ran into fear and switched off the internet. Now you're in the diaspora. Let's say in the 2026, Museveni switches off the internet. What should the diaspora do in that time?
They can't switch off the internet in the diaspora.
No, I mean back home when the internet is on.
Prepare for that. Do everything now. Sensitize people now. But not only that, devise other means now. Let us have multiple approaches. Let us have an open strategy and a discreet strategy. Let us do what they know and also do what they don't know.
Overt and covert plans.
Thank you very much.
Whoever is watching, we are with the President of Uganda, His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, who has legitimately voted back home. Mr. President, we have seen the issue of court-martial show up every now and then, and we are headed for a time whereby we saw Muhoozi come out to say that every NUP member who puts on an attire, just like the one I'm putting on, should be arrested. What's your take on this? What plan does NUP have as we are yet to see the trial of citizens in court-martial increase now and then in 2026?
Yeah, it is unfortunate, but it's been happening. Civilians have been tried in the court-martial, in the military tribunal, which is gravely against the law. Dr. Besige's trial in the court-martial is the most recent, exposure of that injustice that has been ongoing. The Chief Justice is accomplice to this. The judicial system in Uganda is a mockery